Hi everybody, this is Catherine, your favorite French Canadian. Today I'm going to show you how to boost your FPS in Last Epoch. We're going to start by optimizing Windows, and after that we will go inside of the game. So now the best setting for Windows for gaming. So first of all, we're going to search for game mode in the search bar. Make sure that game mode is activated for the past year. It's pretty good. You're getting a decent performance, and you're going to make sure that all your resources are focused on the game that you're playing. For the Xbox game bar, I still recommend to deactivate this one, causing stuttering, crashing in some games. So I'm not a huge fan of the Xbox game bar. And for the capture, make sure that the background recording is at off, and also the recorded audio is at off. Another thing that I recommend, it's the hardware accelerated GPU scheduling. Make sure that you're searching for graphics setting. You will need an NVIDIA card, 1000 series or more recent. It will really help with bottlenecks. So if you have a 1050, 1050 Ti, 1060, even the 2060, you can expect a nice 2 to 5% boost. And also you can expect less stuttering when you're using that. So I really recommend to use that. Another thing that is really important, it's your driver. Make sure that you have the latest driver from AMD, NVIDIA, even Intel if you have an iGPU on your processor. So for an example here with AMD, you just click check for update and it's gonna show you if you have the latest one. You can do the same thing with NVIDIA. Another thing that I can recommend with the NVIDIA and AMD, they have an image scaling for the past a couple of months. From AMD, it's called Super Resolution, and for NVIDIA, it's NIS. I have dedicated video who's gonna show you how to use that and how to configure it. But to explain you quickly what it's about, so you need to enable this. So for example, I'm playing in 2K because my monitor is in 2K. I'm going inside of my game. I lower the resolution at 1080p, and the software will scale it back at 2K. And with this process, I can save 15-20% in my FPS. Also, you can do it if you have a 4K monitor and you want to do 1080p or 2K. You can expect a nice boost. The image quality will not be the same if you compare with native, but in some game it's working very well, and it's very tough to see the difference. So I recommend to use it if you're struggling with your FPS. So if you have an NVIDIA card, just go on your NVIDIA setting, go to Control Panel, open it, go to Manage 3D Setting, and just use pretty much the setting that I'm currently using. Honestly, they're pretty much default. So the first one that you need to change is your low latency mode. If you have this technology, make sure that it's at on. The other one is if you want to lock your FPS. For an example, you have a 170 Hz monitor and you want to stay in your G-Sync range, you just put your FPS here at something like 167, something like that. You want to be under 170 Hz to always stay in your G-Sync range. So if you want to do that, it will do that for all your game. It's a global setting over there. So I'm gonna unlock it, and this is pretty much it. If you have access to the change ECC state, I recommend to uncheck it. This will slow your VRAM, so you don't want to use that. For change resolution, make sure that you're playing native. So if you have a 2K monitor, go with 2K. If you have a 1080p monitor, go with 1080p. And super important, look at your refresh rate. A lot of people are missing this step. They buy a new screen and by default it's at 60. So use the maximum refresh rate that is available on your monitor. The last parameter will be your G-Sync. So I recommend, if you want to use G-Sync, I recommend to, first of all, you need to enable it, and I recommend to use the enable for window and full screen. So if you're playing a game like in borderless mode, it will be applied. Also, you can select just one display screen depending on whatever. If your second screen is not compatible with G-Sync, you will just push it to one monitor. Me, I'm not using it. I have a 4090 for my GPU, so I just want to unlock my FPS. So in majority of the game, I'm getting 250 FPS, and my monitor refresh rate is at 170 Hz. So I just want to lower my input lag, so that's why I just unlock everything, but it really depends on your situation. So this is pretty much it for NVIDIA. Another thing that I recommend, it's your energy profile. So write energy in your search bar, go to power option. Make sure that you're running something like balance or high performance. On a desktop computer, it should not be an issue, but if you're playing on a laptop, really make sure that you're using that or a special profile for performance from your brand like Asus, Dell, or whatever. The thing is, sometimes when you plug your PC in the wall, unplug, using it with the battery, sometimes it stay at power saver and you don't want to use that when you're playing a game. So super important to be plugged in and also to use a proper performance profile. Another thing that I can recommend, it's the Intelligent Standby List Cleaner. This is a software made by the guy from DDU. It's pretty amazing, honestly. It will help if you don't have a lot of RAM in your PC. So if you have 4 gig of RAM, 8 gig, 12 gig, after that, you should be fine. Windows is doing the job properly. So it will free memory and it's gonna make sure that it optimizes your standby list. So what I recommend normally, it's look at your total memory here. In my case, it's 32. Just divide it by 2. So for me, it's 16. Just press start and it will run automatically. And you just lower the software like that and you're gonna make sure it's optimized. So it's a really good software and also it helps a little bit with stuttering. So I really recommend to use that. One last thing is I have dedicated video on my channel about overclocking CPU, overclocking GPU, depending on your brand and stuff. And it's pretty good because there are basic overclocking guide. I don't touch voltage, so it's pretty safe. You can expect sometimes 2%, 10% boost in your FPS depending on your thermal, depending on your component. But it's something that you need to look at too if you want to optimize your PC for the best performance. So now let's go inside of the game. So master quality, you don't need to touch it because we're gonna customize all the parameter over there. For display mode, I really recommend to go with full screen. Borderless was causing me some random issue with my FPS drops, stuttering, and stuff like that. For the screen resolution, I recommend to go native. Don't lower your resolution over there, just go with your native. It's a bit of a bummer that we don't have any DLSS or FSR inside of the game, so right now, no upscaling technique. Vertical sync, I'm not using it. I don't want to add any input lag when I'm playing the game. You can use other technology like FreeSync or G-Sync. And even you're not playing Valorant, so it's not that bad if you have add any input lag in this game. So if you don't like those tearing line when you're playing, definitely activate your VSync. I unlock my FPS, so I don't limit it. I can recommend to limit your FPS in the case that you're playing on some kind of laptop, you have thermal issue, you just have a 60 Hz monitor. Sometimes it's good just to lock it at 60, you will have a better stable FPS. I limit my FPS when the game is in the background, so when I alt tab and stuff like that. Shadow quality after that. Shadow have a lot of different brackets. This one is pretty huge. Ultra to very low, you can expect 20% boost in your FPS. I recommend something like low or medium if you want to keep a good decent quality in your image. I want to mention, I'm going to tell you which parameter will provide you most of your FPS, but each person is different with different CPU, GPU, so it really depends what you need. Do you need them just to improve your FPS because you want 144 because you have a 144 Hz monitor, or you just need your 60 and you're struggling? So this is pretty much it. So my recommendation, start at low, don't click detail. Detail shadow is pretty huge. High performance impact, it touch small object, grass, you have shadows over there, and you will see that it's gonna drop your FPS a lot. Anti-aliasing, you have a couple of one. I recommend FXAA. TA is too blurry for me. FXAA, you're gonna gain 4% in your FPS. You can even deactivate it if you want. Grass density, I recommend to go with low. 4% difference between both, and also you stabilize your FPS honestly at low. Reflection, I recommend to go minimum, so very low. This one is pretty huge. You will not see a big increase in your FPS when you're just playing, but it's more you're gonna stabilize your FPS when you have a lot of reflection. Ambient occlusion, I recommend to go with medium. I'm not a huge fan at low and very low. The game looks very flat. For sure, you're gonna save another 5% if you go at very low, but medium seems to be a good balance between performance and good image quality. Volumetric lighting, I recommend to go with low, a nice 7% boost over there. Not a huge deal with very low, 1% difference, so that's why I recommend to go with low over there. Screen space reflection, a bit like volumetric, not a huge difference between very low and low. So over there, you're gonna save 5% in your FPS. And the last one is steering quality, not a huge impact on your FPS, more about your VRAM. So medium, even I just test it out. It's not a huge deal. It's 1% for each bracket, so really depend on your VRAM and your GPU that you have. So this is pretty much it, guys, for Last Epoch on 2024. The game looks and run fine if I compare it like 2 years ago. It's a lot better. I hope they're gonna patch it to have like some kind of upscaler. And yeah, if you have any questions, just comment in the YouTube section. Post me your rig, CPU, GPU, and RAM. I will try to help you the best that I can. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Peace.